bad traffic and everything. I know it's kind of tough to get around in the city. I'm actually originally from San Francisco, but I live in Sunnyvale now. So my friend Daniel here, we decided to come at 2:30 just to make sure we wouldn't get caught up and be late, and everybody's like, hey, where's the speaker? But yeah, so we actually, I'm a partner with Topstone Investment, and our company is actually based in Kansas City, Missouri, actually. Main partners are actually here in the Bay Area, but we also have a partner that's native to Kansas City. We actually are a relatively new company, but the partners actually all have about 20 years experience in real estate. And so I started back in like 95, 96. I was fresh out of college. A buddy of mine, and we were like 95, 96, didn't have any money. It's like, what do we do? So I read a lot of books back then. I read all the Carlton sheets and all these, different things, and had this idea that, hey, I'm going to start going buy real estate. And when we told our friends, they started laughing at us. And like, yeah, right, whatever. But where my friends would go out partying, Friday night late and whatever, like I'd leave early, and then I'd wake up early on Saturday morning, and I'd drive up to Sacramento, and we'd look at properties like all day long, and then come back late at night. And we started building a portfolio over, of course, about like a year. We bought about 25, 30 homes. And at the time, my friend, he was funny. He's like, dude, are you sure you want to buy? Because, we're buying houses for like 40, 50,000. Duplexes were selling for like 75,000, and like the whole street was for sale. Because this was like right after 91, 92, after the first Iraq war, and there was like a mini recession. So it's not quite like after '08, but it was a down period. And we would do deals just like in the books. I actually would go to the Sunday paper and look up people's advertisements, and sure enough, there were people that wanted to just give away their properties because they were upside down. They didn't want to put any money into it. And it was easier back then because, actually it was really easy for me because I kept running across these people that wanted to like practically give away the properties, and they all had their loans with a bank or savings and loan that would eventually get absorbed by Washington Mutual. So it was like Home Savings, Home Federal Savings, all these like little small banks and savings and loans. And since I had a relationship with Washington Mutual already, it was really easy. Oftentimes I would pay like $1,000 and submit an application. I would just take over that person's loan midstream. And so there were some properties I bought literally for the cost of the loan. And south side of Sacramento, there were properties that I took over the loans, and there was like 110,000. It was probably worth like 95. It needed a new roof, but there was a tenant on each side, and they're paying like $600-700 each. So the numbers actually worked out already. But like an elderly lady had to go back to Reno, take care of her mom, so she didn't want her 3 properties anymore. So she basically begged me to take it from her. So I did. And so over the course of time, we kept on bumping our heads. We were learning a lot, but it was just by experience. Didn't really have a mentor. There were not big meetup groups like this. We didn't have a lot of people to bounce ideas off of, so we just kind of did it. And so yeah, I've dealt with like lead paint, like lead poison, like actually in the house, where someone actually came out and inspected it, and there were children in the house, and we had to deal with that. And I've had like new construction houses that where the first day, someone moved in and they were taking a shower upstairs, and the pipe burst, and then it flooded the entire downstairs, and the tenant wanted to sue me, and so all these things over time, happened, and we gained from the experience. But because we started at the time that we did, we always kind of saw the just the up and up part of the market, because I didn't see the downside, because I started like right after that happened. So we caught some breaks. Timing was good, but I also did a lot of research into the markets that we were buying in. We always try to buy ahead of any like big redevelopment or like big movement of like large corporations and stuff like that. So at the time, I actually worked at Bank of America as well, so I traveled to the Midwest a lot. So that was my first experience and exposure to the Midwest. I was a regional sales manager, sold merchant services, so credit card processing. When I became a manager, I was going to all these cities from like Little Rock, Arkansas to Springfield, Missouri to St. Louis, and I'd go like 6 cities in 6 days because we were doing these kickoffs. But I got to see all these cities, and I realized, hey, this is pretty cool. You know, so I started thinking about buying out there. I spent a lot of time in Phoenix. That was one of my major territories, so I went there a lot, and so I started buying new construction there because I was thinking, well, you know, we're buying all these like kind of lower end, blue collar, Section 8 type houses in Sacramento, and it was pretty easy to get into the houses like in the late 90s in Phoenix. A lot of $100,000 houses, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, rent for $1,100, $1,200. You could buy them all day long, and as a matter of fact, those never went up in value because they were building so much. And so we started buying those as well. And the turning point came when the market started to heat up in the Bay Area, and I could see, like, you know, it started to heat up here, but it wasn't hot in Sacramento. But I could see the path of progress. It was like stuff started kind of getting higher and higher in price and getting hotter and hotter in, you know, the outer rings. And I realized, oh, Sacramento's probably going to hit soon. So we bought a few more, and then we actually started cashing out. And at the height of the market, actually, we sold everything, and then we actually caught another break, and we actually got into Phoenix really heavily at around 2001, 2002, and so this was like just before, like literally overnight, between Vegas and Phoenix, like year to year, for like 2 or 3 years, it was like number 1, number 2, as far as like where all the businesses were moving, all the people were moving, and so these same friends that were like kind of laughing at us, you know, when we were buying in Sacramento, they all wanted to know, hey, what are you guys doing now? So I just, you know, we didn't do any, you know, we didn't sell them anything. I just introduced them to all the people that I was working with. And a lot of friends actually started buying stuff in Phoenix, and they did really well. They bought a lot of these pre-construction houses for like 120, 130, and by the time they got built out, they were worth like $230,000 in like 9 months. And that was like a really unique period of time where it went kind of crazy overnight. But that didn't last very long because I did some 1031 exchanges, and I exchanged into a lot of properties there, and they literally went up like overnight. But I actually couldn't cash out because, or it's not that I couldn't, but I didn't want to because, you know, silly me, right? It's like, I don't want to pay the taxes. It's only 9 months. Plus, I did try to sell some, but everybody was unloading their properties at the same time because all the investors were like, ooh, you know, let's cash out. And so you'd have like Avondale, like 10,000 houses for sale, and every single one looks exactly the same. So, you know, there was no differentiation unless you really drastically lowered your price, and we didn't want to do that. So I actually refinanced everything, and I cashed out, and I had quite a bit of money to work with. I started buying like in Austin, San Antonio, Kansas City, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I started spreading further out, you know, east. And, you know, I had very good experiences in some of the areas. I had some very bad experiences in some of the areas, but I was learning along the way still. And by that point, all the people that actually were following along with the Phoenix houses, they did really well, and now everybody wanted to buy houses where we're buying. And it got to the point where it didn't really make so much sense for me to like introduce them to all these different people because, you know, we just found an area, and it was like the north part of Tulsa, and we just started actually doing like a turnkey kind of operation. We just actually started buying houses, fixing them up, and we just started selling them back to the people that were interested, and we actually did tours. We actually flew people out there. They paid their own expense, but we paid for all the food, and we would actually take them to take a look at these properties. And, you know, a lot of them were like, kind of like Bay Area, kind of a little stuck up, like, hey, this house is like $60,000, but, you know, the construction's not that good. It's like, well, what do you expect? $60,000. So, you know, we thought that through, and then we actually figured, okay, well, you know, we got to do a better product. So we actually we imported a whole bunch of Vietnamese Chinese contractors from Oakland over to the north part of Tulsa. It was like the funniest thing. It's all predominantly African American, but then suddenly there's like 20 Chinese people running around, you know, doing construction work. So yeah, we were doing it on a pretty large scale. We had about 300 or 400 houses up there, and we actually started importing materials directly from China, like, because when these people came out and looked at the houses, you know, they expected, you know, same finishing touches. So the only way we could make it affordable, or, you know, do it affordably, was we went straight to the source, and we would get like a whole container of granite for like $20 a slab, and we would get like ceramic tile. I paid like, one time I bought like a bunch of closeout meaning not close out like enough for like one room, but like enough for like 2 houses. But I bought like a container of ceramic tile for like $1,500, and it cost me like $6,000 to freight it over. And it still came out to like 7 cents a tile. So, you know, it was a good time. You know, we had a lot of stuff going on, and you know, we're working really closely with the city of Tulsa. We're doing like these programs to encourage first-time home ownership. We're selling turnkey. But then, you know, of course, that was all based on the loans that, you know, all the investors were able to get. You know, really easy to get loans. Everybody was committing to 4 properties, 6 by 6. You know, all young professionals. Everybody was like really excited about it because, you know, they take this little tour and everybody, you know, saw that Kansas City was actually not like the Wizard of Oz. It's actually a modern city, and, you know, it's pretty cool. And so when they came back, they're like, yeah, you know, started committing to all these deals. So we started building this larger and larger pipeline, and then, you know where this is headed. 2008 came along, and, you know, we basically got wiped out because we were pretty highly leveraged. Remember, I took out financing, I refinanced all my properties to begin with, pulled out like maybe $2-3 million, and I sank it all into this, and then I leveraged on top of that because we had so much demand for properties. So the next few years were pretty tough. You know, after 2008, actually, I was out of real estate for a little bit. I was in the beginning. You know, I thought, you know, we could work things out, and, you know, it wasn't going to be as bad as it was going to be because we didn't know that, you know, credit was just going to be like, you know, completely gone, and I couldn't even give away the properties if I wanted to. So, so eventually we gave them all back to the bank, and that's kind of where the story could have ended. But and I was kind of like definitely afraid of like doing real estate again because it was a really, really, you know, negative experience, you know, at that point in my life. You know, a couple years later, actually, a really good friend of mine actually asked me to come back to real estate because he actually stayed in real estate in the Bay Area, so he actually started coming back up because there's all these good deals here now, and he was working with a lot of people that were funding his deals, and so he asked me to, you know, join him again and help him to manage a fund. And I did that for a little while, and then through that I met a lot of people, and then there were some people that knew what we did, you know, back in the early to mid 2000s, and they already kind of felt like a little nervous about the Bay Area, and this is probably about 3 and a half years ago. They're like, wow, there's a lot of money being thrown at these houses, a lot of competition. So they wanted something a little more stable, without as much risk, and without as much having to, like, you know, fight people over properties and stuff like that. So they actually approached me and said, okay, take the part about everything falling apart away from the whole picture. Break down, you know, what you guys did, and, you know, pick out like the best pieces of what you guys worked on. And if you guys can come up with a business model that, you know, might work, like if we pay cash or, you know, if we do it differently, you know, let's talk, and maybe we might fund a project. So I hadn't really looked at the values of these properties that I owned, you know, back in the day for a few years. And when I looked, I was like completely shocked because, you know, you had properties that were $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 properties, you know, very common prices, you know, decent neighborhoods, blue collar, just like back in Sacramento. And they were selling like $10,000, like all day long. And, you know, I was just like, this can't be. What's wrong with these properties? So I called up a guy that I was pretty good friends with out in Kansas City. He had also taken a big fall. I was like, did you know your properties are worth like $10,000 right now? He goes, really? I hadn't really looked myself. You know, I'm working, you know, corporate right now. And I said, yeah, you should check this out. So then we ran the numbers against that, you know, cost. And then we looked at all the stuff that we did before. It's like, well, you know, collecting rents from low-income tenants in the Midwest is a real drag. It's a real drag because inevitably they're going to start slow paying you. They're going to not pay you. And then you're going to end up like evicting huge turnover costs in relation to what the value of the property is and, you know, how much profit you made. It basically zeroes out. So, you know, we took a look at our numbers from before and we're like, hey, you know what? When we rented to Section 8 tenants, you know, if they stayed, which, you know, we had a control over because, think about it, most of the Section 8 tenants are like single mothers with like multiple kids. They don't really want to move around, right? So, those are actually very profitable because, you know, they're staying and, you know, the rents are being paid by the government. You don't have to chase anybody around. So we approached this group and said, well, we could do it this way. You know, we buy these properties. We could set like a ceiling as to what we'll pay for them. Because they're literally like all over the place. So you can cherry pick all you want and, you know, you'll end up with like the cream of the crop and still be all into a house for like $25,000 to $30,000. And you can get anywhere from like $700 to $900, sometimes $1,100 a month in rent at that price. But we also knew that, you know, just from experience, one of the reasons why I had to send people from the Bay Area out to the Midwest to begin with back then was because it's very difficult to trust people that are 2,000 miles away that don't have your best interest in mind. So I talked it through with my friend over in Kansas City. I was like, well, you know, I got a group here that wants to, you know, put a few $1 million together and buy some properties. And what do you think? And we're both really, really nervous about it because we just didn't know about getting back into real estate. But you know, we took the dive, and you know, we're thankful we did because actually it didn't really work out with this group because there was like 7 partners, and you know, it's like a lot of like, because you know, they wanted us to come up with